Well, I was hoping to be putting this thing back together again soon, but fate has decided otherwise. Since I'm in here and I've got a bunch of work to do to these wheel tubs anyway, why not go ahead and mini tub it? I've been thinking about it. It's been on my mind. It was something that I was thinking about doing, and it's going to be about as much work as fixing these guys. Well, probably a bit more, but you know, whatever. And if you know me, you know I've never been afraid of hard work or a good time. So I ordered a set of Detroit Speed mini tubs from my local shop here. They should be here in a couple weeks, hopefully. And I'm going to go ahead and start prepping this, getting this ready to put those in. I want to cut out the old wheel tubs and a bunch of that jazz. According to the Detroit Speed instructions, the first thing to do is to brace up these rear deck lid hinges. And let's do that. To brace these up, I've got a piece of 1-inch angle iron here that I've just kind of cleaned up, and I will weld it right up here between this hinge brace and this rear deck lid brace here. Should go in there kind of like that. Here's the passenger side. I've already got it bolted up, or actually clamped up, ready to throw a little bit of tack weld on and brace that guy up, and then I can relieve this area here. All right, now that I've got that braced up a little bit, I can remove these trunk lid hinge springs. Get those out of the way. What I'm going to do is take a little piece of pipe, like about yay big, slide it up on the end here, and then just pry that out and get that out, and hopefully it won't try and tear my arm off. Okay, I got them out without any big hassle. I also put them back in and took them out again just to make sure that I can do that. And they are kind of tricky, but pretty easy to figure out. I believe there's a right and a left. They don't look like they're bent the same, so I'm going to label those real quick and stow them away. And then I can drill out the spot welds along here for this brace, and that'll have this guy free, and I can work on the rest of this. Okay, got the spot welds drilled out there. Next, I want to remove this brace here that ties the wheel tub into the seat back brace and the package tray. Swing around over here. It's just got a few spot welds here, and then the Detroit Speed instructions say to cut it off even right across there. So let's do that. Okay, I got that piece loose in there. It's still attached to the wheel tub, but it'll come out with that. I'm going to use the plasma cutter and go ahead and cut those wheel tubs out. Ta-da! It's out of there. Here's that area. You can see where they drilled through to remove that outer wheelhouse, and then they didn't clean it up, they didn't fill it in, they didn't do anything. They just slapped the other one up there and welded to it. Here's that area there that I was able to get my finger through earlier. Yeah, we'll have to rebuild the lip on that guy a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm gonna work and get this cleaned up and then maybe cut the other one off. We'll see. Okay, I'm cleaning this up, getting the metal taken off of it here. You can see here's the 3 layers. This is the inner wheelhouse. This is the old outer wheelhouse, and then this is the support piece for the rear deck lid, and then on the inside is the new wheel tub that they put on there. Whenever they welded this up here, you saw how many holes were in the inner wheelhouse, so they didn't bother plug welding it too much. Instead, they welded up along the edge here, and so that's all chewed up. I'm tempted to remake this flange all the way around, because like I've got to repair part of it there, as well as it's on the wrong side of the inner quarter panel brace and this package tray brace. But I'll get the rest of this cleaned up and then take a look at that. Okay, I got this all cleaned up for the most part. I mean, it still needs some touch up, especially up in this area. There was a little bit of rust up in here. There's a little bit of rust up in there. It's all surface rust though. And then cleaned off this area down in here, and it gets pretty chewed up and rusty right in here. So that'll need some patch and repair. I've still got to formulate a plan as to what I want to do with all of this. But luckily I get to cut off the other one. We'll go ahead and do that plasma cutter, and all the good jazz. Okay, that inner wheelhouse is cut out of there. Up here, it doesn't look as bad as chewed up, but I mean, it still needs work. So we'll clean the metal off this and see what we got. Well, I'm getting her cleaned up here, and I'm certainly glad that I'm doing this because look at this rust right in here. Yeah, that's not good. It wouldn't be long before that started becoming a problem. So yeah, good thing I'm doing this. Just gotta continue on taking that off and cleaning it up and then scratching my head. All right, got that extra metal ripped off of here. It was a real treat to grind that off there. Let's put it in the recycle bucket and move on. Let's clean this up and see if we can't see what we're working with here. Okay, got this area cleaned up here. The metal's not looking too terrible. It's not real rusty and not too mangled. However, the plug welds between the inner quarter panel structure and the outer wheelhouse aren't holding. They're kind of just popping off there pretty easily. So since I've got to repair this area and this is kind of chewed up in here and this is really chewed up back in here, I'll probably end up remaking the outer wheelhouse flange as well as remaking these inner quarter structure flanges. This side's not as bad as the other side. I'll show you it real quick. It's pretty gnarly and gross in a lot of places. So I think that'll be the best plan of action. Now, I'm going to wait until I get my Minitubs here so that I can use them as a template and make sure that I get everything lined up and everything looks good. So I'm going to move out of this area and move on to finishing up the repair on that transmission tunnel. There's also some cleanup work that I want to do on those toe board patches. And then I also want to make sure that this metal is real good on both the quarter panels so that the floor is ready to go in, as well as I can mark out, drill plug weld holes in the floor pan and have it ready to go in here. So when I get my tubs, I can keep on trucking. Okay, I got a little excited, didn't turn the camera on, but I'm welding up this area in here. There was a gap from about here to here that was pretty wide. Filled that in with the coat hanger there. It's not looking too bad. It fought me a lot. I burned through quite a bit, and I think that's because whenever I was trying to fit that floor up here, I was hammering on this, trying to get it to move up, and I ended up stretching the metal and making it thin, and that made it hard to weld. But I've just got a bit more welding and grinding to do on this, as well as there are some pinholes kind of in this patch here. See those little guys there? I want to fill those in and just clean up this whole area here. The inner rockers are looking real good, pretty good. I did a little bit of fill there. I think I've got a pinhole over on this side that I want to take a look at. But yeah, let's get this guy cleaned up, welded up, ground down, looking good. Okay, I think I'm done. Welded this up, cleaned up some little pinholes and little areas that I didn't really like too much. Got those welded up and ground down, did the same thing on the other side. One thing that I learned or discovered is if I have my wire touching the actual workpiece whenever I pull the trigger, it's not as violent of an arc and it doesn't burn through as much. So that's something that I learned, used that, worked really well. Got this cleaned up. I'd like to, I cleaned the E-coat off of here where it's going to be welded. I'd like to clean up the inner rockers there and spray it all with weld through primer, but it's a little too cold today, so I think I'll quit here and go drink a beer and then plan my next move.